What's up, guys? It's the real main event, the Rogue Soldier, the essential John L. Crossfire.
And I'm Mrs. Crossfire.
And once again, you guys are tuned into Caught
in Conversation. Shakalaka-laka.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 83 of Caught in Conversation. As always, I am your host, the essential John L. Crossfire. I do apologise for the 2-week hiatus of life just got a bit too much, unfortunately. But it is what it is. I am back today with a huge episode. I am talking to owner promoter of Anarchy Pro in Victoria, Adrian Cassar, and we're going to do a little preview for you guys for their debut show coming up in a couple weeks' time as you hear this for When Legends Rise, Friday, March 3rd. But before we get into that, the song of the week this week is Still Frame by Citizen Soldier. Once again, very mental health driven. It's okay to not be okay. It's not weak to speak. If you need someone to talk to, tag me, and all of that jazz. Cannot stress that enough on this podcast. My mental health has been kind of shitty the last couple of weeks, which did factor in to having no episodes, along with just general eye pain as I recover from my eye surgery. But again, the song of the week this week is Still Frame by Citizen Soldier. The match of the week this week is Triple H versus Batista versus Randy Orton versus Chris Jericho versus Edge versus Chris Benoit inside the Elimination Chamber at New Year's Revolution 2005. Also features Shawn Michaels as the special guest referee, and it is also for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is one of my personal favourite Elimination Chamber matches, and I felt like it was appropriate because as I record this on Saturday, Elimination Chamber 2023 is on tomorrow, or today if you're listening to it when it drops. In fact, this episode will drop at the same time that event starts, so I probably will forget to promote the podcast until after the event. I'll set a reminder, Adrian, so I don't forget. But again, the match of the week this week is the Elimination Chamber match from New Year's Revolution 2005. But let's not waste any time. Let's get into this conversation. Went just on an hour with Adrian. Let's get caught in conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here for round 2 with owner/promoter of Anarchy Pro Wrestling, Adrian J. Cassar. How you doing, brother?
Tired.
It sounds funny doing that when we just had a bit of small talk off air. But
yeah,
it is what it is. It's a podcast. We, of course, are here today. We're breaking down When Legends Rise. Once again, a show that I was invited to, but I can't make it because of funds and all the fun stuff and life. But I cannot wait to see footage because I've got this card sitting on my screen, and literally any one of these matches could be match of the night. It's absolutely ridiculous. I feel like you've outdone yourself already. I don't know how you're going to top this with the second show, but I'll read it just from left to right, and then we can break it down as you'd prefer. But basically, we've got Chris Law versus Jason Crash, Broderick Valentine versus Ryan Rapid, Conflict Axiom versus B Squared, which was only just announced, Craven versus Charlie Rose. We've got a scramble. We've had some card subject to change there, but that's wrestling. Manos versus Robbie Parker, which kind of started on here, and my bad. Sorry. Tarly versus Joel Bateman, which was announced here as an exclusive on the podcast in our last chat, so thank you again for that. And then, of course, we have this awesome dark match that you've just done. We've got Luke versus Xavier versus Ace. Banger after banger after banger. I'm pretty sure that's actually, trademarked at this point, but sue me.
Just to add on to the scramble part, the winner of the match will get bragging rights in Anarchy Pro, but you'll know what sort of bragging rights they are, maybe on the night.
Interesting. So where do you want to start here? I'm assuming you want to start with the dark match.
Sure, why not? I prefer to call it a pre-show match because we are going to upload it eventually, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the whole definition of dark match has changed over the years, but yes, the pre-show match. Break it down for us, Adrian.
So, we've got two of the youngest, hottest talents in Melbourne at the moment, which is of Ashak and Luke Reznor, versus about 10, 12-plus year veteran Xavier Black. I recently saw both A-Shack and Xavier Black at MXW Slam and Sham. A-Shack obviously wrestling Bateman, a fantastic match. And Xavier Black obviously becoming one half of the inaugural MXW Tag Team Champions.
Yes, indeed, along with Scotty Roach.
Yes. So this match, people are going to think that, like, with, Xavier Black having a longer career length than both of these two wrestlers combined is his advantage, which I don't disagree. It is a big advantage, especially for Xavier Black, because Xavier Black, he knows every trick in the book, every, sort of thing in Australian wrestling. But you can't underestimate A-Shack, because not only he is not coming out alone, he's coming out with his beautiful tag team partner, EVO, which you'll see very soon.
Indeed.
And then Luke Resnor, he is a trainee from the APW Academy. He was trained, I think, by Jason Crash and Chris Law.
Interesting two names to mention.
And also York, I believe. He's had some really good matches lately. He debuted back in November against James Marshall, who's also on the show. He's also had a match against fellow Conflict Axiom member Nate Nitro. So, yeah, this is the big test for Resnor, because he's never had this opportunity before.
It's very much a breakout moment for both A-Shack and Luke Resnor. And you mentioned, the experience of Xavier Black. I think on paper, that obviously gives him an advantage, but in a 1 versus 1 versus 1 situation, anyone can lose the match at any time without being involved in the decision as well. So everyone has to keep their head on the swivel in a triple threat environment. So I'm very interested to see how it plays out with these two. I hate using the term rookies, because let's face it, everyone's still green to some extent, no matter how long you've been around. But these two young guys that, I don't know if they've got a chip on their shoulder, but they've definitely got something to prove. It's like, are they going to, work together to get rid of the veteran, or is it just going to be a free-for-all? As you mentioned, A-Shack has a partner at ringside. It's a lot of bodies for a referee to try and keep track of. So Lord knows what's going to happen here. And this is just the pre-show.
Yep. It will be uploaded online later. I believe it'll be uploaded to YouTube on the full show. So you will not miss this match. So, especially with EVO being ringside, who knows? What side of A-Shack are we getting? We getting the one we saw at Slam and Sham? Or is it the one we saw months ago where he's conniving, cheating, and etc.? That's a big question on a lot of people's minds.
That's one thing I have noticed for Ace with his limited experience. He's very good at flipping that switch where he can go from, I guess, happy-go-lucky, smart-ass Ace to a more aggressive Ace, or, as you say, to a more sneaky Ace. So there's a lot of different factors going into this, and maybe, depending on the match, he may have to dig into all of those bags of tricks. But well done for this pre-show match. And if nothing else, with all due respect to Ace and Luke, this match, regardless of who wins or loses, this is a very good platform for them to get noticed. Because I did notice that, we're here to promote Anarchy, but of course you do work very closely with MXW. He had that match against Joel Bateman at Slam and Sham, and now he's popping up in other promotions already, just from that one match. So all eyes on A-Shack and Luke Resnor here against Xavier Black.
If I'm not mistaken, A-Shack is actually going to be wrestling tonight. He's a part of these 5 guys at Victorian Pro Wrestling down in Strathmore. Weekend,
yes, that's one of the ones.
It's actually tonight.
Of, yes, as we record this.
Yeah. And then we've also got, he's also popping up pretty much everywhere at this point, which is fantastic, because the match he had against Joel Bateman was just fantastic. Sorry for swearing. But
And even in a defeat against Joel Bateman, he still hung in there really well from what I saw from the clips online, and I can't wait to see that in full. But what are you expecting to see from these competitors personally, as both a fan and also from a promoter side of things?
I'm expecting to see them at their very best. Even though it is a dark match, it is the perfect opportunity to get noticed by the crowd that we're going to have. I think that all three of these people are going to be on their A game. Xavier Black, he doesn't have much to prove in this match, but if Ace or Luke, not to discredit them, they could put up one of the biggest upsets that I think we've ever had, especially on being the first ever match in Anarchy Pro by technicality.
It's bragging rights in its own.
Yeah, so I should have added them to the scramble.
The person that's in this match can say, I won the very first match in Anarchy Pro Wrestling. That's something that they can, that can never be taken away. There's only always one first ever.
Speaking of first ever matches, we're going to move to the opening match of the main show, which will be a match that has happened so many times. This match is perfect to have as the first match. It is between the Jawjacker Jason Crash and the Revenant Chris Law. So
excellent choice.
So far, because the promo that's being uploaded coming out tomorrow. Today's Saturday. Tomorrow's coming out tomorrow, right?
Excellent.
Okay. Okay, so showed you that promo, but so Crash in that promo, he wanted Chris Law to do something for a change. He wanted him to go in this match alone, because most of the previous matches they've had, Law's had help to beat Crash. The win-loss record between these two men is very, very differing, because I believe Crash has only won one match between the two, and Lawler's won about 3 of the other times they've wrestled each other. Especially with how Lawler's going to be without James Marshall and Blake Curtis. How is he going to fare? Is he going to choke? Is he going to, or is this just going to be a very, competitive... This is going to be a very competitive match, especially being the opening match of the show, where these two men know so much about each other.
It's very much a proving grounds type situation, because obviously Jason Crash would want redemption for those losses, but as you say, Chris Law has been known to kind of take shortcuts and do it with help, so he's kind of got to buckle up, I guess, and may the best man win. So it's an interesting little notch that I didn't realize between those two. That's why I am not a statistics person, but that is a fantastic point to bring up.
Yeah, indeed. I believe the last time they've actually, technically if you minus out multi-person matches, last time they faced off was at Pandemonium 1 back in 2020, when they had an amazing match on that show between them two. At that time, Crash won. Sure, he won via a roll-up, but that meant a lot, seeing that, he can actually beat Chris Law. Especially with this match is going to be a very big proving ground match, and going to be the first match on the show.
First official match on the official When Legends Rise match card.
Yeah. Moving on, if we're going to move on, the second match on the card is another proving ground matchup. It's between the Australian sensation Craven and Charlie Rose.
Okay.
As I said on commentary for MXW Slam and Sham, 2023 is the year of Charlie Rose.
I wholeheartedly agree with you in that statement. They are a fantastic competitor. They've shown that in just a couple of glimpses that they've had in the past, and they did take some time off, for their own personal reasons, but they came back with a bang, and I think that's kind of an understatement to say, but definitely, in some respects, maybe if Charlie Rose was to defeat Craven, some people would look at it as an upset, but I don't think it would be. I honestly don't think it would be. If you look at it on paper and you look at the experience and stuff, obviously that is in Craven's favor and all that, but I don't think Charlie Rose getting a victory here would be an upset in the slightest. I think it's going to be a lot more evenly matched than I think people realize, but still, as you say, it is still, I guess in a technicality, very much a proving grounds match as well.
Indeed. Charlie Rose, back at Slam and Sham, actually defeated Adam Crow in the opening round match of the MXW heavyweight title tournament. So, yeah, Charlie Rose is a very impressive talent. Another thing that Charlie recently did, she wrestled Callan Butcher in a death match at DMD proudly presents CKY 2K. I think.
I cannot wait to watch that match. I'm still like 7 shows behind, but I've actually got the weekend to myself, so hopefully I can get a couple of shows in at some point later today. But I saw the highlights from that just on Instagram and Twitter and that, and Charlie absolutely just took it to Callan, which I don't think anyone was expecting anything less, but it's awesome, again, to see that they're not pulling any punches. They've come back, they're showing that they're back, and they're like, we're not here to fuck spiders, basically. Not to steal a line from DMTU, but... Indeed.
Especially because I was there that night when Charlie wrestled Callan, how everyone was very shocked when they found out it was Charlie. People were expecting other deathmatch names, like Mad Dog, Vixen, Samson, etc.
See, I was expecting Will Walker. I don't know why. For some reason, that match just popped in my head when I saw the open challenge. But I don't think I'd say I personally, like, although it wasn't who I picked, I wasn't shocked, because they've already shown the type of competitor they have been multiple times, including the death match with Joel, which was actually the match of the week on the very first episode I ever did of this. Like, they are a fantastic competitor. You cannot sell that short enough.
Indeed.
What are words?
Yeah, 100%. I'm fumbling. Yeah, so as we were saying, it won't be the biggest shock that Charlie will be Raven, because Charlie has had their big, sense of success back in Tasmania. I think Charlie Rose was the inaugural TCW North-esque champion.
Yes, indeed.
I'm thankful I did not butcher that name, because I've did that before. But yeah, so Charlie is very familiar with success. So I reckon seeing that it's probably one of the biggest opportunities here. Especially since moving to Melbourne.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to see them take the Melbourne Storm by scene, and then I guess by proxy the entire Australian scene by storm. But just so that we're not playing favourites here, because we're kind of doting over Charlie, but look, they are just an amazing competitor. I cannot stress that enough. But Craven is called the Australian sensation for a reason. I have had the pleasure of doing a seminar with him, and I still say multiple times, I've said it on the pod, I've said it to the workers that I've worked with, still the best seminar or training session that I've had literally ever. Extremely knowledgeable, extremely talented, world-traveled, competed in Mexico, has had tryouts for WWE back in the day. Where do you think Craven stands going into this? Because I believe we mentioned this last time that you were on the pod, because Craven was on the poster, but this is the first time in a while that Craven's kind of come down to your neck of the woods and, made no bounds that, maybe Anarchy could be his, home away from home in the Victoria region. What do you think Craven is looking to get out of this? Because I think Craven's a smart dude. He's got his finger on the trigger. He's got his finger on the pulse. He knows exactly what's going on in pretty much every state and territory in this country. So I dare say he knows what Charlie Rose is all about.
After that match was announced, Craven and Charlie, I messaged Craven and said, do your research on Charlie. Do not underestimate them. And yeah, if you do, Charlie will just have you for a run of your money, if that's the saying, or something like that. So yeah, Charlie, a lot of people are very much underestimating Charlie, especially people that aren't too familiar with them.
If you're not familiar with Charlie Rose and you're listening to this, or you intend to go to any Anarchy or MXW shows, just any shows in the Victoria region that they're on, do yourself a favor and check them out, because you'll see exactly why myself and Adrian are doting all over them as such a fantastic competitor.
Indeed. Especially from what I've seen about Craven, he's been studying some tapes of Charlie, figuring out how to counter certain moves that Charlie has in their repertoire. For example, with the swinging neck breaker that Charlie uses. Charlie's very proficient with their technical wrestling, especially how Charlie beat Adam Crow at Slam and Sham. Beat him with flip over them and grab the head.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah. And also with a Rings of Saturn. Which is a very dangerous submission move.
And Craven's signature maneuver is a Swanton Bomb. So if she applies those technical moves and takes out his legs, or even his arms, I guess, as well, to an extent, Craven's going to have a hard time doing that.
Indeed. That's probably something for Charlie to look out for in this match. Craven's experience. Craven's been wrestling for about 15 years. Point. Charlie's been wrestling since, I think, 2017 or 18, give or take. So yeah, this is seriously going to be a match to look out for.
Craven also very well known for that finger snap as well, so that could all just throw Charlie's technical offense straight out the window if he manages to get a hold of that. But as we say, on paper, Craven 100% has the advantage, but just don't underestimate Charlie Rose, I guess, was what that rant from both of us was from.
Indeed, yeah.
What have we got up next, Adrian?
So we've got the first ever match in our tag team division. We've got a team of James Marshall and Blake Curtis, aka Conflict Axiom, taking on LDZ and PJ Red, aka B Squared. So, story behind this match was B Squared had their debut match at Adrenaline Pro Wrestling just about, I'd say, about over 60 days ago. Conflict, they beat B Squared. The first ever match, they want a rematch. That's basically the simplest way to put it. These two men, pardon me being a mark, but I'm going to have to say they're like the new Young Bucks. They're very fast, energetic. They know how to hype up a crowd. They know, sure, they have barely any experience, because I think this is going to be like their fourth or fifth match. And they're taking on a very experienced tag team, which are former tag team champions at APW.
Seems to be kind of a common thread here for a lot of these matches. You've got a lot of people that are very, very new versus veterans, but again, there's a reason they've been booked. Like I haven't seen that match with Conflict Axiom that you were just talking about, but from the moment B Squared debuted, I've got so many people from all many different states, and the majority of the people that I follow are from Melbourne, just because they're the people that I think are fantastic, and anyone and everyone is talking about B Squared. So obviously they've got something, and they've done something to get the attention of you as a promoter. You can say, pardon being a mark, but at the end of the day, that's why we're here. Like, you obviously have seen something in them as a fan, where as a promoter you can go, hey, we can use that.
Indeed. So, another thing, big thing about B Squared is that they've got, the high-flying experience. And Conflict, they're more grounded, technical. Like Curtis, for example, he's very much he's very grounded and can do a lot of grounded sort of moves in a way. Especially, and then James Marshall, on the other hand, the Grace, which is his nickname. I believe he's had about 7-ish years of experience in the business. So, he knows what he's doing.
I've seen one match of James Marshall, Botchamania. My apologies, James, for butchering your name. Adrian. I've seen one James Marshall match ever live. I should specify that. Seen one James Marshall match live up in Queensland, and he almost decapitated my young protege Jackson Thornhill in what was only his second or third match at the time in, I think, 2018. So I do feel sorry for B Squared, seeing how young in the business they are, because, as you say, they're high flying. Obviously, the game plan, it's pretty obvious. Conflict Axiom are going to try as hard as they can to keep them grounded, but I have no doubt that someone with the striking ability and the surprising power behind them that they do, like a James Marshall, could be very interesting.
Indeed. The thing about this match is going to be, this isn't the first time they've faced each other. This is the second time.
As
so,
you say, yes.
What a B Squared game plan coming into this match, which is the biggest question that a lot of people really want to know. Will they take a new strategy than they did last time? Will they go in with the same strategy but tweak it a bit? That's the big question.
They do seem like the couple of guys that could learn something even from the defeat, so I cannot wait to see how this unfolds. Because, as I said, there's got to be a reason that, despite the fact that I haven't seen them firsthand, that B Squared is popping up all over my social media. Because everyone is just, fellow workers as well, just saying, look, keep your eyes on these guys. So I cannot wait to see what happens here at this show, and when you do upload the footage, to see how they fare in this rematch with Conflict Axiom. And I just hope, for their sake, that they did take something from that loss. And as I say, they seem like the kind of guys that would.
Indeed. So, with that, I'd say we should move on to the main event for the first half of the show, which is going to be the horror whore, Tali, taking on the smash hit, Joel Bateman, which was, as you said, was an exclusive match that I announced on the pod.
Thank you again for that, by the way.
Welcome.
Tali versus Joel Bateman. That's a pretty good way to go into intermission, I feel, because the fans, I feel, and this is me being a mark now, are going to be going absolutely nuts for this, and they're going to need that 15 minutes to just kind of breathe and calm the fuck down.
Yeah, as a note, this is the second time they've faced each other.
But the first time in a ring.
Oh yeah, first time in a ring. If you count the tag match they had last year, Xavier Black and Kid Valiant, this is their third time in a ring as opposites. So, yeah, this match is going to be very, very, very violent. So, lots of headbutts, lots of submission offense. Hence why we're going to have a warning or a / disclaimer before the match, because knowing Joel Bateman, he's very big with his headbutts. As, a lot of people know. So, yeah, this match is going to be very, very violent.
I'm very much, again, like this. I'm just gonna sound like a crack record this entire episode. So I apologize to you and the listeners, but this whole card is fantastic. And being not only your first show, but as we said in the first episode we did, you being an 18-year-old promoter, like who the hell wants to work for an 18-year-old? All of these amazing talent that's currently on my screen, apparently. Like I cannot wait to see footage from this match. Like it's gonna be just the running theme for this entire episode. But Joel Bateman, he's expert deathmatch wrestler, world-renowned deathmatch wrestler at this point. But you can't forget the technical ability that he does have on top of that. But as you say, lately he's just had one thing in mind. He walks in the ring, he caves in people's heads with his own head, and that's it. But Tali, she's dabbled in a little bit of deathmatch stuff as well. She knows what that's all about. I can easily see Tali giving Joel a taste of his own medicine and just giving him a headbutt. You never know.
Indeed. So, moving on to the first match after intermission is a match that I'm going to have to be watching very, very closely because this is the Scramble, and the winner of this match will earn bragging rights in Anarchy Pro. So how this match came about, as most people saw in the video, I was minding my own business, and then I get a crock thrown at me by Kid Valiant. Sure, he was the first talent announced, and one of the first people on the poster, which is over there. See there. So, yeah. So, who's in this match? We've got the main character, Will Walker, as we were talking about earlier. We've got someone that we were talking, yet another person we were talking about earlier, Adam Crow. We've got the certified bad bitch, Miss Fortune. Have to replace Zane Zodiac.
Yeah, I was just throwing me off. I was looking at that and I was like, shit, Zane Zodiac's been replaced, and I couldn't think who you announced. My apologies, Miss Fortune.
Then we've got my favorite wrestler, Kid Valiant. And we've also got the Lady of Love, Natasha Valentine. And someone that is very not well-known name, Tommy A.
I am bias aside with the match that we're going to talk about after this with Robbie Parker. This is probably the match I'm most looking forward to from a worker standpoint, just because I have a friend that he's kind of been all around the country. He's currently located within like the Central West area. He keeps telling me that I need to keep my eye on this young man by the name of Tommy A. Before the last MXW show, I guess their first show, I should say, before the show that has had happened, he keeps telling me, you've got to keep your eye on Tommy A. Got to keep your eye on Tommy A. And he's got a pretty good knowledge, this person. Shout out to Dave. Can't think of, he's got like 3 or 4 different worker names, and I don't know which one he'd want me to use, but he knows who he is, but he's very...
I think I know who you're talking about.
He's been a manager, commentator. He's fantastic at his job. Great knowledge. But he keeps telling me I've got to check out Tommy A. So I cannot wait to see what everyone else in this Scramble match does, especially KV. As you said, he was a little pissed off that he was the first talent announced, and you kind of, in his words, I guess, held out on him. I think it was just more building anticipation. But KV is entitled to his opinion. He is the young goat for a reason. But all of this talent in Miss Fortune, Natasha Valentine, I cannot wait to see them, what they can do. Will Walker, he's proven in DMDU what he can do, but, let's not put him in a box and say that he's only doing deathmatch. At the end of the day, he is a wrestler, and he's in there with 5 other wrestlers, and then, of course, Adam Crow as well. So I can't wait to see what all these guys do, and guys and girls, I should say, all these workers do. My apologies, but I'm kind of being a little biased because I keep being told, keep your eye on Tommy A. So my one good eye is on Tommy A in this Scramble match.
Yeah. This match is going to be a full-on war because all of these talent, they they want they want to grab the brass ring, say for instance. So they all want the big opportunity that they haven't been able to get yet. So if, say for example, Adam Crow, for example, he's the current interim APW breakout champion. This show's coming out tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. It still is.
Drop at 12 p.m. tomorrow.
Okay, so we've also got the certified bad bitch, this Fortune, who is one half of Influential Fortune, with the current number one contenders for the APW tag team titles. I nearly said NXW. We've got Natasha Valentine, who she's the 7-year pro. She debuted, I believe, in 2013 or 14. And, well, no, that would mean she's like 10-ish year pro. So, yeah. We've also got... yeah. Sorry, I'm tired.
It's okay.
We've got,
it's very exhausting running a business, I can imagine.
Yeah, it is, homie. We've also got Tommy A, who is, I believe, has 3 years. No, not 3 years. You're nearly 2 years in the business.
I think it's close to 2 years from what I was told.
Yeah. So he debuted back in... He debuted last year. He's barely even been in the business for a year yet. So I think he debuted actually in March 2022.
Well, there you go. That's pretty much smack bang on a year officially as a competitor almost.
And then we've got Kid Valiant.
Bit of a love-hate relationship I've noticed between Adrian and KV, unfortunately.
Well, that's what happens when someone throws a crock at you. So
yeah, I along with everyone else was kind of doing the Austin Powers reference of who throws a shoe honestly, and I guess KV wasn't impressed, and he was just like, it's a crock, and I was like, okay.
Yep.
KV is not in the mood for joking at this point. He wants to just come in and he wants to hit that curb stomp, cave people's heads in, and possibly come off the top rope and win the scramble. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But again, it's just hard for you because you know a lot of these people on a personal level, but from both a fan and a promoter perspective, you said there's huge bragging rights on the line, which will be revealed more on the night if you're there in person. But what are you expecting from this match? Because literally any one of these matches, including the semi-main and the main event that we're about to talk about, could be match of the night. But I feel like these scrambles, especially with, I guess, the modern style of wrestling, more often than not, are the ones that steal the show.
Yeah, this match is going to be a very fast-paced match. I feel bad for the ref that's reffing the match because he's going to have his hands full. So, yeah, it's going to be very fast-paced because most of the wrestlers in this match, with the exception of Natasha Valentine, are very known for their high-flying ability. Natasha Valentine's very known for powerhouse sort of thing, especially with the stunt wrench. I think it's an exploder suplex. That's the move. Exploder suplex and a lot of her, powerlifting offense.
Definitely capable of just yeeting every single other competitor in this match, that is for sure.
Indeed. Yeah, so this is definitely going to be very fast-paced. And especially all these people are fan favorites, with the exception of Adam Crow, who does have that mirror. And this match is no disqualification, so really anything can go.
That could also come back to bite him, though, when you factor in that from his standpoint, there is still 5 other competitors, and you got to factor, is Natasha going to have Broderick at ringside, or is he going to be focusing on his match later on? There's a lot of different factors here with a lot of different people.
Especially with, as I forgot to mention, the Charlie and Craven match, Charlie's actually going to be having Will Walker ringside match because they are a tag team.
So,
as well as Will.
depending on Charlie's condition, she could be in Will's corner for this match as well.
As well as, yeah, indeed. This match is going to be a very high stakes contest and might steal the show. Moving on to our semi-main event for When Legends Rise, we've got the match that was announced wasn't announced. He made the challenge on the pod. Fellow Rogue member, the Hunter Robbie Parker.
Now this is where I want to say to Manos, my bad. Now maybe I didn't tell Robbie to lay out the challenge, but I also didn't stop him. He's like, I want to do something here, so I was kind of like, well, I mean, shoot your shot. Not realizing the person that he was about to call out, but I cannot wait to see footage from this because this is going to be meat slapping at its finest. This is probably going to be the most, with all due respect to Joel Bateman and his headbutts, this potentially, in my mind, may be the most stiff match on this whole card. Because I know that Manos, he's got a bit of a sick, twisted mind. I'll just put it like that. I won't say it any further before he sends the grey after me, but he can take and give quite a lot of punishment, and I think Robbie Parker, being the Hunter, speaks for himself. I'll try my best to remain unbiased here. This is going to be brutal. This is going to be stiff. These dudes are going to hurt each other. That's all this is. It might be a wrestling match, but both men have made it pretty clear that they're here to fight. And
yeah, exactly. Manos is I believe, a 10-year veteran of the Victorian scene. He's won multiple championships previously in other companies in Victoria, so experience really lies with the Overlord. But Robbie Parker has a lot of heart towards him. He can put up a great fight, as a lot of people saw at Slam and Sham in the Triple Threat.
I'm still not happy with the way that match ended, mind you, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, hopefully Rochelle Rogue can get vengeance at MXW. You're talking about Robbie Parker losing?
Not so much Robbie losing. Look, it is what it is. Wins, losses happen. Rochelle Rogue is an amazing competitor. I just feel like the Grey sticking their nose in what could have been one of the matches of the year for any promotion, and I don't, people might scoff at that, but that was 3 fantastic talents in that match, and then the Grey just came along and ruined everything.
Especially with how Manos was very jealous of Rochelle Rogue being announced as the wild card competitor, especially for that tournament. So who knows what the future between Rochelle Rogue and the Grey are.
So this might be me just being biased, being that she is a fellow Rogue, but she's not actually a member of Rogue. But I have been a big fan of Rochelle since the moment she debuted, and she's a fantastic talent. And it's left a sour taste in my mouth, and I'd be lying if there wasn't part of me that kind of wanted Robbie to hit Manos just a little bit harder for that, because at the end of the day, I'm a professional wrestling fan, and I can't, pot kettle black. I've made some dastardly decisions in my in-ring career, but you live and learn, and I wanted it to end cleanly. One way or another, there was 3 fantastic competitors in that match, and it just, what really grinds my gears, if I can steal a quote from Family Guy, but this is going to be stiff, and it was already going to be stiff, but now Manos has stuck his nose in. I feel like it's going to be even more stiff. But yes, as you say, I can't wait to see what how Rochelle responds to that in future MXW and maybe even Anarchy shows, given that you guys are working together.
Indeed. So with that, we're moving on to our main event of the evening, which is going to be the Lord of Love, Roderick Valentine, versus the Revolution Killer, Ryan Rapid, with Carl Grove. So these 2 men, they've trained together. They've known each other so long. Even Ryan Rapid was one of the best men of Roderick Valentine's wedding back at last year. So this match is going to be a great way to end the show.
I watched Broderick's open challenge, or it wasn't open challenge, but he challenged Ryan Rapid in the video that he did. But I watched that video, and he's building up, and he was talking about the best man stuff, and I'm like, I don't know who he's talking about because I'm not close to them on a personal level.
Yeah.
And then when he mentions Ryan Rapid's name, I literally audibly said, "Oh shit!" That was literally my exact reaction, because I've been a very big fan of Ryan Rapid for a handful of years now, and I feel like he's kind of, with all due respect to him, I feel like he's almost like an untapped gem of Victoria and hell, even Australia. He's again, fantastic competitor, but I knowing what Broderick, has on his mind and trying to kind of prove himself in the way that he has broken out in the last couple of years, from both a competitor standpoint, a personal standpoint, there's that many factors thrown in that, is it going to be a clean fight? Is it going to get personal? What's going to happen? And I guess buy your tickets or watch it on YouTube after the fact if you can't make it to find out. But a huge stakes matchup with nothing but pride, I guess, on the line.
Yeah, this match is going to be something special, especially with Ryan saying that no matter if you're my best friend, best man, brother, when it comes to that ring, that all goes away. See who the better man is. With him also going as far as saying his real best friend is Carl Grove, who Carl has been managing Ryan for years under the RB4K banner back with, I think, had Aisha and Semi Falcon as well.
Yes.
And yeah, so this match is going to be something very, very special, which fans are very, very.
Because I can see both sides of this here. My best friend, his very first match was against me, and there's this thing where, yeah, you're brothers, but brothers fight. But at the end of the day, no matter how much love or mutual respect or admiration you have for someone, and I can see where Broderick's coming from when he says that, hey, he wants to prove himself against this friend. But I also do agree with Ryan that once that bell rings, there is no friends. It's competitor versus competitor, wrestler versus wrestler at the end of the day. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, because emotions are definitely going to be running high from the very moment that bell rings, I feel, or before the bell even rings, to be honest.
Indeed. So, back to also mention, Natasha Valentine is going to be ringside, Broderick, to even up the playing field, because Broderick doesn't want to be alone, especially with just Carl as ringside. So, probably for the best, Broderick to bring help.
Because I personally, I like to see, just a clean battle of respect, but Ryan Rapid being the competitor he is, it wouldn't surprise me if he kind of was like, hey, slipped a bit of extra money in his manager's pocket, if you know what I mean, to help get the job done. But I guess this is all just, we're all just kind of speculating, I guess.
Indeed, yeah. Another note for the match, it's gonna be this whole show is gonna be amazing. This card, it's something special. So much talent is on it. So much amazing matches, especially with it being the second ever show at the 3011 Arena down in Barclay Street in Footscray.
Yes, I shared that the other day. We finally have an official address. Yes.
Yeah.
Insert applause button. Yeah. I can't reach my soundboard, but
I remember being there when they announced it, and I was like, oh, thank you. But yeah, there's a lot of tickets left if you want to come. Especially, we've got a lot of cool surprises behind me. We've got one of the raffle prizes. It's a framed poster of the show. which is going to be signed by everyone on the show. So, yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, easy peasy.
I do appreciate, though, in seeing the genuine love that you have put into what I guess probably started as a passion project, but I have no doubt with these competitors that it's going to continue to grow into an actual business and company, and I can't wait to watch it unfold, much like I said to the guys at MXW before they had their first show. It's just there's so many people that are all involved, and they all have a very similar mindset in terms of where they want it to go, but it's also different enough to keep it interesting in terms of the actual matches and yada, 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 not to pull the curtain back too much, but
yeah,
I honestly, on paper, I could not pick a match of the night. As I said, maybe given the modern style of wrestling, I'd probably give the edge to that scramble, but the emotion that's going to come through with Valentine and Rapid, the story between Chris Law and Jason Crash speaks for itself with, again, Jason Crash wants to kind of prove that he can beat Chris Law when it's not, I guess, just a roll-up. Chris Law needs to prove that he can do it without help. Craven and Charlie, Manos and Robbie, Tylee and Joel, the Conflict Axiom, B-Squared match, and even to wind it back where we started, the pre-show. This is such a big platform, and not to, discount anything that's going to be on this show, but I tell a lot of guys that come to me for advice, because for whatever reason, despite the fact that I'm green as goose shit and always will be, a lot of young workers always come to me for advice, and I tell them if they're worried about bringing on a pre-show, they shouldn't, because this really, it's a separate thing from the show, so it's going to be its own separate little thing when you guys do put it up. That gives, in my opinion, these guys a bigger chance to stand out, in theory, than if they were on the full card at this stage of their careers.
Indeed, yeah. Those three are going to kill it. Well, everyone on the show is going to kill it, because that show in general is just going to be a lot of great wrestlers that are a part of it, a lot of great talent as well a part of it, and it's going to be amazing.
Now, obviously, being the promoter, I can't say, what match do you think is going to be the best or anything like that, but from a fan perspective to an extent, because at the end of the day, that's what got you into promoting in the first place. And if you guys haven't heard the first conversation with me and Adrian, get on that. We kind of nerded out a little bit along the way as well, but that's all part of the fun. But from a fan perspective, is there anything particularly that you've got your eyes set on, or?
Really hard to answer.
It's like making you pick your favorite child.
Yeah, because every match has something special about it. Every match is just got something very unique about it, with lots of strong style, flippy shit, boss fights, a lot of that cool stuff, which I implore people from Melbourne, give us a chance, buy tickets. This is going to be a fantastic show.
I just, as I say, I'm a crack record here, but I cannot wait to see this unfold, dude. And I wish you and every single worker that is on this card and, hell, future cards, all the best of luck, because the amount of word of mouth that Anarchy has gotten in such a short amount of time in itself is amazing. But you've got the presentation, you've got the production, you have the quality performers. Now all you need is on March 3rd is for the people to show up and cheer and boo and just be filthy fucking marks, and everyone will get to go home happy. Well,
Indeed,
I guess
yeah.
the people that lose the matches might not be very happy, but be better next time.
Yeah. I'll also announce something exclusively on the pod.
Oh.
The commentary team for the show. So who we've got someone that was on commentary with me at MXW Slam and Sham, Jackson McLean.
Absolutely beautiful, handsome features.
Yeah.
No makeup or anything.
We've got the man with the beautiful mustache himself, Michael Thompson.
Okay.
Who's one of the voices of APW. We've also got the almighty Bo, who, when you see the MXW Slam and Sham full show edit, he did something that really popped me.
Well, without giving too many spoilers for those that haven't watched it, because obviously I haven't watched it yet because it's not up, but I've seen like all the results and stuff through social media. I'll be honest, my bad. I owe an apology to Bo, because I thought that match was going to be completely one-sided, and he stood in there without Smacks absolutely murdering him. So good job to Bo for that. I'll take I'm not wearing one, but I'll take my cap off to Bo for that.
Yeah, both of those guys, to be fair. Smacks, I've known both Smacks and Bo so for about 5-ish years, give or take. So they're fantastic. They're great at what they do.
I also popped for Bo's gear as well. I haven't followed AFL since I was a child, but I used to follow the Bombers. So seeing the little parody gear that he had, I was like, yes!
I also popped for the Rocky video he did, Rocky 3. Yes. Literally, after the match, he came up to the comms desk and yelled, "Yo, Adrian!
I did it!
I did it!" Which I'll send you the video of it because it's really funny.
But no, just a solid card, just top to bottom, coming up, man. Like I cannot. Like literally, every time I look at it sitting in front of me on my laptop, something different pops up. Like it's like, yeah, okay, maybe I'm biased, but Robbie and Mano sticks out to me as a hoss fight. But then I look at it and Tali and Joel, Charlie and Craven, Crash versus Law, the main event with Rapid and Valentine, the tag match, the scramble, the pre-show match. There's just, I cannot wait. I think that's probably the 20th time I've said that through this, 40 minutes to an hour long episode. But I can't wait, and I wish every single person the best of luck. And I thank you for jumping on too for short notice, because it was only yesterday that I messaged you, but I just, with my health and everything, I'm having a lot of trouble. This will be the first one I've done in 2 weeks. I was meant to only take a week off, but unfortunately I've started a business course. My eyes are playing up. I'm doing very amateur, I'll put that out there, very amateur graphics and posters, but I'm enjoying making them, but just trying to do two things at once, it seems. But I'm glad we could do this, and I'll post this at 12 p.m. tomorrow as we record this. But thanks for jumping on, brother.
That's all good, man.
Is there anything else you wanted to plug or get out there, or before we wrap this up?
You can follow Anarchy Pro on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Anarchy Pro Oz. You can find us on YouTube, Anarchy Pro. Really got to upload content onto that. I think we're starting a TikTok.
Why not?
Yeah. We're probably going to also start other stuff. So, yeah. I appreciate it.
Put all of the Anarchy stuff in the description, and I'll put your Instagram and stuff in the description, and chuck all the tickets and stuff like I usually will. I'll link to the Facebook event page, so that way people can just find it easier. But yeah, all the fun stuff I'll plug in there, all the usual stuff, all the business stuff. Try and make this look like a semi-fucking professional podcast, because Lord knows it ain't.
Yeah, I'm always happy to come on whenever you need me to. It's been a pleasure, man.
I thank you very much, and I'll let you go and get ready for whatever it was you were doing this weekend. But
I've got AOW tonight in Bendigo.
Nice, yes.
2 hour drive.
You did tell me the other day, but my brain just fried. But good luck to all of those guys too. And for AOW, anyone wants to chat about that, I'll chat to you guys about that as well.
Indeed. Yeah, I'll catch you later, man. Perfect.
Thank you very much, mate. See you later.
Yeah.
All right, that was round 2 with Adrian J. Cassar of Anarchy Pro Wrestling. Thank you again to Adrian for coming on. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of the Anarchy Pro family, and I've said that to you many times in private. I'm going to say it again here in public on the podcast. I am forever grateful to MX Dub and Anarchy Pro, giving this fucking filthy mark here a chance to be a part of their respective families. All of Adrian's links, as well as the Anarchy links, especially the event link for where then you can go find tickets and all the fun stuff, will be in the description below. Of course, MX Dub and CPW will have their event links down below as well. My link tree will be down there, which of course does contain my social media, my pro wrestling tee store, and if you are so inclined, my Amazon wishlist. Please click that link tree though and go follow my new Instagram page. It's at crossfire_graphics. I'm going to leave that in there. Botchamania is what it is. You'll see all of my official posters that I've done for a handful of companies now, as well as all just the random shit that just pops into my brain as my ADHD does. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. I feel like we're coming back with a bang, but maybe that's just me being biased. Maybe I'm tooting my own horn or whatever it is. But the song of the week this week was Steel Frame by Citizen Soldier. Match of the week was the Elimination Chamber from New Year's Revolution 2005. Thank you again to Adrian for coming on. Greatly appreciated. I am the Essential John L. Crossfire, and you were just caught in conversation.